Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So today I've got a kind of an interesting video for you. It's an impromptu video. I didn't think I was going to do one today, but I kind of decided at the spur of the moment to do one. So first of all, I want to say Happy Independence Day for everybody out there, especially if you live in the United States like I do. I'm really grateful to be an American and for the rights we have, including free speech, which I use all the time on social media, including YouTube. So you might actually hear some explosions, little pops in the background. Those are fireworks going off, even though it's after midnight. So anyways, it's coincidental, too, to talk about things like that because I wanted to talk a little bit about politics in comics, and by and large, I don't like comics that are political, but there are exceptions to that. And I think one way that it's acceptable for there to be politics in comics is when the comic doesn't focus on politics entirely. For instance, this Flintstones run, I think it's from 2016. It's a couple years ago now. But when this ran, it's somewhat political, especially some issues more than others. But the thing about it is, it's about life. And politics is a part of life, but it wasn't the focus of this book. So I'm a big fan of this series, this Flintstones run that was done. It was a 12-shot, and there's a paper, there's a trade back of it out now that has collected all 12 issues, and there's also single issues. So this Russell is the writer, the Steve Pugh is the artist. He's a really cool guy. I actually follow him on Facebook. But anyways, this series is really cool because they took something like the Flintstones, which, is a family, and it's the modern Stone Age family, so they kind of modernized it, but not in a way that's really bad like you might expect. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it definitely tackles all kinds of issues. This first issue deals primarily with the concept of money and work and possessions. It even dabbles in modern art a little bit. I'm going to have to tell number one Marmaduke fan that that's a theme that takes place because Wilma is an artist. I think it's actually in this issue. She is an artist, and she does these paintings. It's kind of like cave art, and they are trying to get in. She gets accepted. Her art gets accepted. That's what this phone call is about. To be in a gallery, so she has to start, dressing all crazy like the artists do and everything, and ultimately they don't even accept her. So I'm going to have to tag number one Marmaduke fan. He'll get a kick out of that. So anyways, he does all these academic art videos. I'm getting off on a total tangent here. So anyways, the thing about this series is it has some very political issues. There's even an election that takes place. But they tackle all kinds of other issues. They talk about religion quite a bit, believe it or not. They talk about the family dynamic. They talk about like the roles of men and women. And I freaking love the way they have Fred and Barney in this. Like, they aren't a couple of dopes. They aren't a couple of slackers or like buffoons. They're actually really cool, noble men. And Fred, in particular, you really see his love for Wilma, and that comes through in every issue. And Barney, I don't want to give away spoilers, but he does some really noble things because they're actually in a war, believe it or not. This series takes on the themes of war and post-traumatic stress and all kinds of things. Like Fred and Barney have a veterans meeting they go to, and it's like, one of the guys there has got post-traumatic stress disorder. So the art's really cool. It handles a lot of themes, and I think that it shows you can have politics in a comic, and it can be okay. It just has to be handled really, really tactfully. And the way it's often handled these days it's too heavy-handed. Like this series, yeah, it has political issues. It's not really in the first issue. This first issue talks about several things, but it doesn't really get into politics. So I think if you're going to talk about politics really in any fashion, it has to be handled pretty delicately at the very least. And yeah, keep it vague too. That helps. There's just some overarching themes in this that are political, but it isn't like telling you to take a side either, which is another way that it can be done, is just to present an argument, but not say that you should agree with it, you know? So that's pretty cool. You know, an example too, which is interesting because it's by the same writer, is that Snagglepuss series that's also out. It has at least 2 issues. I think it has a bunch now. I looked at the first couple, and that was a way to do a political comic in a bad way, I felt. I really didn't like that, and that's why I haven't reviewed it. I did do a regular conventional review of this issue, so I'll put a link to that in the description box. And yeah, just let me know what you guys think about political issues, you know, in comics, and if there's ever, you know, a valid way to do it. And if you read this series, let me know down in the comments what you thought. It's really one of my favorites. I have all the issues on digital, but the first issue is the only one I have a physical copy of. So pretty happy I got a first printing. All right, so that's all for now. I hope you guys had a happy 4th of July. And yeah, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell for notifications. And as always, thank you for being a part of DC Fans United.